Hey, oh, you're right on live with me.
I know. I
How
was
are you,
like
buddy?
with the groove, man. I was just kind of dancing and having some fun over here at my house on my spaceship.
On your spaceship. Well, I normally start the show and bring the guests on, but we're live with you. So, hey, welcome everybody. I'm Mark Stoner, and this is SureFire Live. And as you can see, we have my good friend Taylor Hill joining us. How are you tonight, man?
I'm great. Seeing you twice in one day is just, like it's like a birthday,
Man, how could I mean, it couldn't get better except three times a day, right?
Yeah, it's just awesome. First
Taylor
thing in
and
the morning, last thing at night.
Yeah, I'm gonna read nighttime stories to you next. Taylor and I did a meeting this morning, a business network group, and that's how Taylor and I met each other years ago in Business Network International, and that's how I met Alan Rush and you and Cam Arnold and several other people who became part of our industry were part of that group. And today I'm in my daughter's group now, and so now we had you join us to be our Visitors Day. As you know, Facebook stopped us being able to cross communicate with groups, and I don't even know if it's going out live. I saw a couple people and then it kind of went away. So we'll rebroadcast this in a podcast and in other things. So we'll have to work around the technology changes that you deal with every day. Every day you do something that would work. It worked yesterday on websites and marketing, and today it doesn't work. And that's what we're facing now. So, man, tell everybody what you're into, what you're doing. Let's catch up.
Well, we just put a notice out probably about a month ago that Spark Marketer has merged with a good marketing group out of Pennsylvania. And we did it really intentionally because both of the owner groups, there's four of us now, really looked at search and where everything was going, and it's changing so fast that we just felt like we could do better together than being competition anymore, because it just takes too many people to keep up.
It really does. I mean, I mentioned this a few weeks ago about our accelerator group, and I've got 15 companies and that, and I've got a mixed group, and we've got all these things, and I feel like it takes all of us to keep an eye out for the next new thing. Like, I've got lots of people saying, "Have you seen this? Have you done that? Look where this is going." I mean, it is, and that it's comforting to know that you feel the same way. Your business moves so fast, and it always has. Man, since AI kicked in, it seems like your thing went into warp mode, and 1 second later you can be behind. Like 1 second later, the conversation has shifted. Oh, that was literally 17 minutes ago. You're behind. It just feels like that.
Well, it's every day. When I came back from BNI this morning, I sat down and Google had made an announcement that, hey, guess what? If you're not showing up on mobile, they're not going to index you anymore, period.
So everything has to be on mobile.
Yes. And they've been doing that for, probably 2.5 years. Everything, every way you rank, it doesn't matter if you're on desktop or mobile, either one, it's how you rank on mobile, you're going to rank on desktop. So if you no longer can show up well on mobile, you're just not going to be indexed. And here's the thing. People go, what is indexing? Indexing means that Google has you in their files, and they're going to show you when somebody searches you.
Right.
And let me say something about this, because this is something a lot of people don't realize. As a marketing company, we're always working on getting content and getting the right stuff out, and on and on and on. But right now, there's over 3 million pages a day being published to the internet. What did you think about that? So a great deal of those are AI written, and they're just crap. So what Google's done is Google has throttled all the indexing so that they can go through it. So used to, we could write a page and it'd be indexed in 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it's taken us 6 weeks. And we have things that, I'm not going to tell you what we do, but there are things that we actually do to get it indexed. but sometimes do it 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
So with it going so fast, and maybe this is the old guy in me talking, how often do people go, forget it? Like I'm checking out. I'm not going to try to keep up anymore. Like where do you, I know you can't fall out of that yourself. I know there's times you're like, weary of the change, but like, what's a healthy idea for a business person that's got a million other things? I mean, obviously, probably the healthy thing is to hire somebody that just does it. But like, you get change weary. You've had it, like, or you're excited by it. I mean, I don't know. Where do you fall on that?
Well, I get excited by it. I mean, and I've had people that are younger than me. I mean, I'm 60. I'll be 67 in August. And the thing that tickles me more than anything is when somebody that's in their 40s and 50s come up and goes, God, this stuff just makes me tired. It fires me up. I mean, it does. I love the technology. I love the change. I love the challenge of it. I mean, it's just when you look at anything in life, this is the way I've just kind of grew up. If it's not challenging, it's kind of boring. So, to me, I'm in a very non-boring industry.
Yeah, that's a fact. Well, as a small business owner, tell me what I need. Well, let's talk about you merged now. Your now Spark Marketer is now no longer.
Correct. Spark Marketer has been. It's not like extinct. Everybody is merged into Future Now Marketing. And we created Future Now Marketing and picked that name very specifically because people think that AI is futuristic. AI is right now. If there's one thing that I would say to everybody here is don't put your head in the sand and think that AI is going to go away. It won't. It's not going to go away. It's actually going to get more and more and more robust. And that's what excites me more than anything, because right now we're on the very just tippy top going in the mountain of AI. Just think in 18 months to 2 years, what we're going to be looking at. It'll blow your mind. I've seen some of the stuff that they're working on. Oh, my word. It's fun.
Hey, Ryan, great to have you on, and thanks for finding us tonight. So, okay, let's talk about that. We're all tired. We're busy. We're working. Some of us aren't as tired as we need to be because it's not as busy as we want it to be, but we are hearing it every day, all the time, the new AI, the greatness or the scariness. Tell us what it means, what you're looking at, you're looking at, what's coming down the pike for us, and anything that you think will be relevant for us business owners that we need to make sure we know what this. I'll tell you a thing. I learned that if you don't stay ahead of the language and you don't stay ahead of the topic of the day, it is in no time you're behind. You don't know what people are talking about. Yeah. And if you will, it could be with music. It could be with, apps. It could be with software. It could be with emerging technology. But the moment you decide that you're going to slip off the cracker and you're not going to worry about it, it is no time until you're almost irrelevant. You don't know what anybody's talking about. And I try to stay focused on this. And even at that point, at any moment, I can feel like, uh-oh, what's happening? And so I think we have to talk about it. Everybody has to know what the language is, what's coming down the pike. Stay relevant, stay on top of it. Don't get to be the old guy at 40. Like I'm 57, you're 67. Like, let's stay on top of this thing.
On top of it. So let me tell you, there's a couple of things that I think that people need to understand. An LLM is basically a language model, okay? And people think that AI is really smart. What you have to understand is AI really is dumb. It's just a machine. It's a bunch of ones and zeros. That's all it is.
It's dumb today.
It's dumb because it knows nothing until you feed it.
Sure.
Okay. So you have to feed it the information. So, there are things like ChatGPT, there's Copilot, there's Gemini, there's Claude. I mean, it's amazing how many are out there. All right. All these language models they have trained pretty much the same thing. Anything on the internet, news, all that kind of stuff. But what a lot of people don't understand is there are also AI systems that are closed off. Okay. In other words, they're built to take very specific information and use that information. And that's what's so exciting to me about the benefits of AI for a company. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah, people are afraid that if they put an AI bot on their website, that what that's going to do is it's going to go out and find all this information online, and it's going to hallucinate and give you all kinds of wrong answers.
Okay.
Well, if it was like that, yeah, it probably would, because you couldn't control those answers. But with a bot that actually is feeding off of the information you get it, all of a sudden, you're feeding it the answers. It's learning by your website. It's learning maybe by your social media, but you can also give it PDFs, videos, pictures, all those kind of things. It actually is learning that whole modality through all that information.
That's cool.
Yeah. So like the bot we have, we call it Denny. We are getting really good at training it. And in fact, one of my jobs right now is to go back and fix some of the things it did on the front end. It's not terrible, but it wasn't as good as what we have it now. So I've got to go get rid of some things and republish and some of that kind of stuff. So when you think about, go ahead.
I went mute. You basically put it in a box, and it's a box of the things you want it to be proficient at.
Yes.
And then it really doesn't go out. Look, what happens if somebody asks it a question that's outside your box that you've trained it in? What does it do?
So it's going to do one of two things. So if there are, here's a big, kind of a thing that you have to be aware of. If there are pages on your website that you have hidden, that you haven't gotten off your website, it's going to crawl those pages. So if you have old prices, old that kind of stuff, before you use one of these, you got to get those off. Okay.
Oh, God.
That's really important. Or it's going to give some answers that you're not going to want it to have.
Yeah.
But the bots, the main function of this bot, most of them, is to do one of two things: communicate with the customer, and book. That's it. You communicate with the customer, find out what they want, and get them booked with with an appointment.
So in the case, do you have to have software that, like on my situation, it would create a form? Is that what you mean? Or are you talking about like it talks to other software and books an appointment?
It actually can move like the person. Let's say you've got ServiceTitan, okay? Because everybody on ServiceTitan can set that up where people can go in there and make their own appointments. So if you had ServiceTitan, then what it would do is it would point it over to ServiceTitan and go right into that booking space. So that's where it would point. We have a lot of people in services that don't want to do that. They want to control their routes, which is fine. And so what we do is, in that case, the bot actually will send an email with the entire transcript to the people in the office, tell the person that they're going to get a call within a certain amount of time. And that's what we do. And so as long as the people in the office are giving them a call, quickly, then we can do that. But the bot gathers name, phone number, email. Okay. Sometimes the address, depending on how you set it up. And that's really the thing. We start in the beginning, and it's like, how do you want it set up? What's the best way you want it to function? Do you want it to send it to a place to where it can book online, or do you want to control that? So those are all the questions.
Hang on one second.
But to answer your question, because it wants to answer the questions, there are times it hallucinates. And this is why.
What do you mean by hallucinate?
Human-centered AI. You absolutely cannot work with any AI program and not have a human being involved somewhere.
Yeah. Ryan says, we use AI often, especially when writing scripts for radio ads and social media content, every week we use AI.
Yeah.
I'm writing email scripts right now for certain marketing programs we're doing, sending out. We send phone calls and it gets followed up with an email. And I wrote it and I threw it into AI and it made it sound a lot better than I did. And it didn't seem fake or disingenuous. It just had a few more thoughts in it that I had. And it made my thoughts better. It just really did. Everything I've used it for, in general, not everything, but a lot of things, it just like accelerates or it illustrates what I'm trying to say better.
Yes.
And then especially if you give it parameters like speak, in a certain tone, or speak with authority, or speak with, conviction, or whatever. It has different models. So in marketing, how are you? Tell them about Genie and tell them about how you told me a lot of stuff about search today that was interesting.
Yeah. So the thing that's happening in search is now Bing, Google, all of them are really controlled by AI. Google just came out probably less than a month ago and said Gemini, which is their big AI model, is now controlling search. So what you have to think about is the way we've always looked at search is through the eyes of keywords. Chimney sweep, Nashville, chimney repair, Washington, D.C., whatever, wherever you are, it's a keyword and a location descriptor. And that's what we look through.
Chimney sweep near me.
Yeah, near me, which sounds all great. And I'm not saying that you poo-poo that. That's still something that we have to look at. I mean, it didn't change it to where it went from, A to Z all at once. But I'm telling you, it's going very slowly from A, and we'll see how far it gets till we get to Z. Because what we're finding is up to 53 to 65% of the population is now asking the AI questions instead of doing keyword search. So what does that mean? That means you interact with an AI system as a human being. When you're prompting the system, you don't say email campaign and think it's going to do that, right? You say, I need an email campaign that's based on this, and I need it here, here, and here. You prompt it, it starts spitting stuff out, and that's the way it works. AI is the same in search. So now you have people saying, oh, I woke up this morning and I've got this big, water coming down my chimney. I don't know who do I call? Do I call a roofer or a chimney company? And then they ask, oh, well, you need to call a chimney company. Or it could say, you need to call a roofer, which is, we all know, totally wrong, but.
So you're saying search is more, it's more, you said it to me today. You said, would I talk to you like this? Mark, chimney sweep near me. Like you would not talk like that. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very conversational. People are actually using bots. This blew my mind. More people want to interact with an AI bot than the people that answer the phone.
Really?
Yeah. You know why?
Whenever I know I'm talking to a bot, I don't like it. I don't think it's going to tell me what I old school want to talk to a person. I want to talk to a little blue-haired lady sitting at her house working from home that can book my, flight or something. But, and then I go through the chat bot but that's interesting. That may be, well, you got to get used to it, right? A lot of times you're talking to somebody or you're talking to a bot because they'll say it. So I think it's good if it's not trying to be a person, if it's just trying to give you search information for you.
And that's one of the things that we really believe in is being transparent. If you're using any kind of AI, you really do need to be transparent in it. So, but people love bots because they're always there 24/7. So if I want to, if I told you today, I got to get my rental house, the dryer vents, done. Yeah, but I keep forgetting to call you guys because I'm always busy during the day. Well, if you have Jenny on your website, I can go in there and say, hey, have them call me tomorrow. I need to get my dryer vents done. And she goes, okay, takes my name, my number, all my information, and then I'm done until somebody calls me from the office and I can get it scheduled. So it's 24/7. Cool. Yeah, it's 24/7. It never calls out sick. It never asks for a vacation. I mean, you can go on and on and on about.
Well, what about my attendance policy? Is my attendance policy just going to go away? I work very hard on that. I got to give me some points.
I know, but just think about this. Right now, like I said, we're just on the precipice of really moving forward. Everybody I know is working on voice. So I want you to think about this.
Is working on voice?
Oh, it's working on AI voice. Be able to answer phones, call and make follow-up calls, call people back, check, if they come to the website and don't book something, we give it a time frame, 24 hours, 48 hours. Call them back in 48 hours. So it actually calls the person back without you doing anything and just checks up and see if they found somebody to do that work or not.
So right now we're doing a lot of outbound calls. This time of year we have these dialers that call out everybody. I said, hey, it's Mark Stoner, served your chimney a year ago, blah, blah, blah. But there's also a girl on the other end. So if it doesn't go to voicemail and somebody picks up, she's right there, picks up, hey, this is Heather from Ashbusters. But so many people think she's AI. They ask, are you AI? Or is this a real person I'm talking to? And she's like, yes, I'm a real person. I'm sitting like, she has to literally, it's getting to that. They're not sure, especially on these automated calls, if it's a real person or not. Ryan has some questions or some comments. Sure. He said, Genie is really cool, real cool tech. We learned about it at convention. Genie is a chat bot for your website. It really does feel like chatting with a human. And then he says that he's using, and again, Ryan's a young guy out of Canada that is, working on building his company up. We use AI to follow up on our closed jobs, ask him to leave a review for our business, right? Yeah. Obviously, what percentage of chimney guys are on board with this and kind of keeping up with it with you?
So I think right now we have 18 or 19, somewhere around in there. Okay. The real interesting thing about Jenny that kind of puts it over the top as an AI bot, which sold me, okay? The most expensive thing everybody thinks the most expensive thing that you get is a website. That's once you have a website and you pay for that, it's done. And that's not true. The most expensive thing you have to really invest in is SEO, because it's ongoing, it's always writing, it's finding out what's working, it's like I said, it goes in to find what's indexed. What do we have to do to get it indexed? Then you got to go and look at the keywords and look at the things and find out, okay, is this moving up the page? If it's not moving up the page, we got to go back, you got to massage the content. And so it's this back and forth stuff all the time, plus you got backlinks. I mean, it's a big deal. And if you were just to go out and say, I want a really good SEO campaign, you can't go on the market to a strict SEO company. It's $5,000 a month, period. And it's a 6-month commitment. And then after that, if you want to keep them, it's $5,000 a month, period.
Why has it gotten so expensive?
Because it's hard. It's just friggin' hard. I'm telling you, it is.
Oh, I mean,
people don't realize it. I have 3 full-time writers.
Right.
So, I mean, when you think about that, and that's what writers do is, they're supposed to. I mean, they're real SEO driven.
Yeah.
But if you have, which we do, on your phone, right here, this is tech right here. This phone has more power than when we put a man on the moon, by the way.
No, by a lot.
Yeah, by a lot. It's got an app, so you take it out with you on a job. You take some pictures. You tell it what you're doing. You kind of go through that section. You find out when it's done. You hit done. It comes to the Genie. We look at it on the back end, make sure all the pictures don't have people that are walking on roofs without harnesses and safety equipment. So we take those off. We do all this. Then we tell the AI to analyze the pictures. And we've been shocked at how good it is. And analyze, oh my goodness.
What are you telling it to analyze? Like, what are you saying?
I'm telling it to analyze. Like if you took a picture of, I mean, anything, just a rusted out chase cover. And then the next picture is a stainless steel chase cover. And when you're out there, we're out here exchanging a rusted chase cover and putting on a brand new stainless steel chase cover. That's it. That's all you have to tell it that you're doing. All right. It analyzes the picture. It analyzes the other one. It knows which one is the one that's rusted out, which one is the new one. And so when we have the content, we go to the back and we have it create the content. It creates the content. We go through and approve it and make sure that, everything is good. Once we post it, it actually inserts the pictures in the content where it goes.
From your library that you took.
Yeah, from the library of
It's not something that's literally on the website. It's in the AI sitting there ready
it's in the AI to be pushed to the website. So we approve it. Once it approves, it pushes to the website. Now, here's the thing about this local SEO. Every chimney company in the world, all right, has this on their website. I sweep chimneys. We repair chimneys.
Right.
We inspect chimneys. Right. It's all the same. All right. But guess what? Not everyone has come to my house, put a gas stove in, has pictures of it, Cottontown, Tennessee, has the name of the technician in it. You see how that is very specific. Yeah. So what Google looks for is something called EEAT, expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. All right. That post is all of them. You are in Nashville. You don't give me pictures where I can write stuff. Right. You see what I'm saying? You don't do that.
Right. Don't be calling me out on. Don't be calling me out.
I'm just telling you.
I do perfect. You know this.
I understand that. You're perfect. You are perfectly something. I'm going to come up with a word at some point. But my point is, when you can get,
I'm a business guy. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, you only have how many? 18 businesses now? Is that right?
It's a couple. It's one too many. Let's just say that. Whatever it is, the last one was too many. A couple question from Austin Harris says, a majority of our customers base is middle-aged and elderly. Is it possible that we don't attract younger customers, not because they aren't aware of need, but because they want a bot interaction? Interesting.
So I'm going to answer that. So number one, if your customer base is middle-aged and elderly, then you still have to market to them in their comfort zone. All right. But again, if you want to start attracting millennials and Gen Zers, and as they start being home buyers, and there's some stuff with home buying they think in the next 10 years, it's going to go crazy with millennials and Gen Zs all of a sudden going to go, I can buy a house. So if you want to pick up those people, then having a bot is a really good way to do that. Here's the thing about.
Go ahead.
Well,
Austin, on a marketing level, Austin, no matter what AI or bots or anything I've done, that's always been my customer. My customer for the last 30 years has always been the middle-aged to elderly, literally 35 to 65, 70 has always been my sweet spot. They have the most money. They have the house. They are going to spend it. Like, chimney's not totally necessary. A lot of times it's just it's an extra. And those are always my customers. Every once in a while you'll get a younger one, but whenever I'm making stuff, I'm always imagining my customer is aging up. So I'm still marketing to the 25-year-old, so that by the time they get 35, 40, they know my name, they know my company, I'm a trusted name, and I am doing the things all the way through to build my customer base from when they're not my customer to when hopefully they turn into the age where they will spend the money with me. But I'm sorry that was my thought about it.
I think that's absolutely 100%. The other thing you have to remember, my dad passed away in April. He was 89 years old. He had an iPhone.
Wow.
My stepmother's 89. She has an iPhone. They know how to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we think because people are getting older that they're stupid. And the reality is a lot of them have picked up technology. Where did they get
they really have.
Yeah. Their kids, their grandkids, their great grandkids, all of them have cell phones, iPads, all this stuff. And so
we were at a company, a Christmas or a family meeting, and they would make fun a few years ago. All the kids are on their phones. We did something and everybody was on their phones. Like we had a break between something and everybody top to bottom was on their phones. So that, I don't know if you're in business doing stuff, you're aware.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's on a phone. I go out and visit my grandkids in Colorado. We sit around on our phones and play games. I mean, it's like, why am I here? I mean, it's the strangest thing. Yeah. It's really odd. My granddaughter, who's 16, you'll love this, has 20 people over, and I go outside. It's a beautiful night in Colorado. They're all sitting down, and 90% of them are on their phones. Some of them talking to each other on their phones.
I hate it too. There's a side of it that you're like, put the phone down, let's interact as people. Yeah. But you can say that all you want. Just look at what the reality is. What's really happening. You can change. You can hate it. You can say, I'm not going to do it with my family. Fine. Understand what you want and what's real can be two very different things. What's really happening in the world. And as a business guy, I have my own morals and what I want to have happen, but I also have to be very aware of what's really happening on a daily basis inside a family. Are they thinking of me? How do they think of me when they want me? How can I get in the way of that transaction?
Exactly.
And so, we can have this.
The other thing you do have to remember is like a bot like Jenny is more than just a front end bot. You can buy a really good front end bot at $97 a month. All right. But you can't get involved with a bot like Jenny for $97 a month because on the back end with the SEO value of it, it can actually take the place, I think, eventually of all the SEO we do. So
it's building SEO content for you all the time. Therefore, you don't have a person there typing, adding it up every week. If you use it, it's building up the value of your website every single time you use it.
Every day. And the biggest disappointment is probably 90% of the people that we have in it right now haven't put one thing in the back end. And that's the engine that makes it really run. That's the most important piece. Yeah,
that's really interesting.
The most important piece.
Nicholas says, hey, Nicholas, thanks for joining us tonight. Taylor is awesome and did such a great job explaining everything to me. Definitely looking forward to working with him in the near future.
Hey, Nicholas, thank you. Love you.
So you met a lot of people at the trade show. You showed this at the trade show, and I've seen you show it a couple of times now. And every time I'm sure it gets better, smoother, understand it more.
Yeah. Absolutely love it.
So if people are interested in this, and not that we're ending or anything, but I started to make a little banner. Is it Taylor at futurenowmarketing.com or future? What is it? What's your email?
It's Taylor at futurenowmarketing.com.
Yeah. So I'll put that right here. Oh, here we go. Show it. So that is how, if anything so far or anything by the end is interesting to you, Taylor is a wealth of knowledge. He, so talk about whatever's next. We'll post this again when people will have questions or want to get a hold of you. What else is going on?
So I think the next thing is to make sure that you have a marketing system on the back end that actually works in tandem with what's coming in on the front end. And by that, it's the same thing. We had Customer-Matic for the longest time, but a lot of people, it's just kind of a beast. And so we have tried to simplify it. Well, it's not tried. We have simplified it in what we call marketing operating software today. It's a DIY kind of a deal because so many people are now very, very technical. But you don't have to have technical like you're getting into with service type.
So I liked Customer-Matic. We used it a lot. Still do use it, but you're saying that it's just not for everybody, and you're creating some other systems. And how we specifically use that is for asking for reviews, follow up text ahead. And I know that some other software already has it.
Yeah.
We can drop in, and have the follow-up 7 emails after we leave a proposal. That type. You've hotkeyed it into our system. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about?
Yeah. And this particular system is also AI driven. So we teach you how to make some workflows and how to do different things in the system so that you've got somebody in your office that can actually send the emails. We're working on email campaigns to kind of put in there for people so they have a place to start, all that kind of stuff. But we feel like there's so many people that really love software and are getting used to using software that, for $297, that's what we're selling this thing for, DIY. And I mean, that's nothing. And we have all the, we're doing all the training stuff to teach you how to do it.
I mean, a lot of software now is so user friendly.
Yeah.
You really, it's not like you're coding anything, and even you have to type out everything and tell it. It's so intuitive that a lot of these things are just easy for a business owner to do without having to pay. Because I found everybody's got a solution for every single problem I've got. I will just subscribe to, and this is not SureFire, because SureFire is the best subscription you'll ever buy. But besides that, everybody's got a program, a software, something that's going to solve everything for X amount per month. And you can kind of get subscription and monthly charge to death. You can look at your thing and you have so many things that are coming out because it was a good idea at the time, but you don't use it, just like a gym membership. So on that, how does that, is that launched now, that kind of DIY? It is.
Yeah, it's launched. And we actually have, we'll teach you how to do Jenny on the back end. There's a lower price point on that. And we'll teach you how to do it if you want to manage it yourself. We haven't had one person do that yet, but we'll teach it.
I mean, really, I wonder why. Well, so on marketing, one other thing that I talked about last week, in a couple of weeks, it seems like search has slowed down. They're not looking for us as much. And I asked you about that this morning in our meeting. How pervasive is this situation where search is down? And then secondly, like every lead that comes in is like more like gold. It used to be like, yeah, I tried to call her, couldn't get a hold of her, no big deal. Now it's like, did you call her 6 times? Did you put her in the system? Did you do this? Did you where's that estimate? How many times do we follow it up? Like, it's different now. And can you talk about kind of the state of the union of what you're seeing in the service industries that you take care of?
So everybody got spoiled with COVID, and I'm talking about across home service, because people had money in the bank, they weren't traveling, and they spent money on their homes. Now they don't want to spend, they want to stay home. They want to travel. They want to do all that. And a lot of the stuff they've already gotten fixed. So the fact that most people fail in the follow-up, that's what we see.
You never had to. You didn't really have to.
Yeah.
There's so many coming in the front door. You're like, I don't need to plug so much was coming in the bathtub. You didn't worry about plugging the bathtub to gain any of it. You're just like, more will come in. But now
you just pick out the best ones, right?
Yeah.
The ones you want.
That's going to float to the top.
Exactly.
But now it's not that way. Do you have a feeling of why do you think it'll come back, and what are the best companies doing?
So I will tell you, the best companies treat every lead like gold. The best companies. They answer the phone. They have chat box on their website. They've got a really good website. One of the really things that are hurting people in search is their websites aren't very good. And they've gone to all the pictures of everything with not a whole lot of content. And you have to remember, AI, even though it can look at the pictures, it needs the content. So that's one of the things that people aren't getting picked up. The other thing you have to realize is the way that Google is now working with AI. When it's an AI search, they don't necessarily send people to your website anymore. Okay.
Where do they send them?
They just have mentions. They have mentions of you in the deal, and then the person has to decide if they're going to go out and see that. Sometimes they have links, but not all the time. The other thing is they have clamped down. The Google business profiles used to kind of be rampant, and you could pick up all these kind of stuff. Now you pretty much have a 7x7. It's a 49-mile grid that if you look at a GMB, that's it. So if you have a 49 mile and it is not covering the place you need to be, you need to go get another location. But you need to know how to get another location. It's not as easy as it used to be.
Let's talk about that, because we're in the middle of that too. We're getting a location in North Nashville, and we're getting a location down in Chattanooga. Not as easy as it used to be. Talk about additional locations. Should you do it? What's involved?
So absolutely you should do it if you are nowhere near your service area, okay? Or if you remember that 49-mile square, I mean, it's a grid that you can pull. It's a 49-mile square. If you're not within that square, you need to have another location. So, but you have to have legal papers. In other words, you have to prove that you're a legal business. You have to have a rent, some kind of a lease written up for that particular place. You have to have a bill to that place. You have to do a video walkthrough at that place. You have to have a sign. So when somebody becomes a customer of ours now, it's kind of funny because on the front end, we gather all of it. I want your business license. I need this. I need that. I need this. And we have that already, because once you launch it, they'll immediately suspend it. That's the other thing. You go through, you get it launched, they suspend it, and then we have to upload all this information. So once they have all that information, then they'll normally make it live. Yeah, it's not as easy. Why is that, Mark? Can I tell you why? Because everybody and their mothers and brothers and sisters and uncles made Google business profiles trying to game the system.
Oh, I know. There were so many chimney companies. All of a sudden, everybody was my competition. And I didn't even have it bad compared to a lot of other areas of the country, and literally had hundreds of competitors in no time. So I have no problem with it. Legit businesses have all that stuff anyway. It's no big deal. It takes you an extra 20 minutes and hopefully it cleans up the search. So I'm totally fine with it. Makes sense to me. Wish it was done a while ago.
Let me tell you the other thing that everybody's dealing with, and this is because of AI. This is kind of the negative part of AI. So what we're seeing is a lot of what I call pop-up AI websites. So I'm in Cottontown, Tennessee. All right. There's no chimney companies out here. And when I type a chimney company out here, I mean, I get you and I get Tommy, and y'all are way south, and Tim Chimney. Those are normally the three. Well, in the season last year, all of a sudden I got this thing called Cottontown Chimney Sweep, White House Chimney Sweep, Portland Chimney Sweep, Cross Plains Chimney Sweep. Now these are all
little bitty towns around you,
around me. And so, they would come up. So I just started calling a couple. It's the same company doing it. I think it's one of the lead companies, whether it's Angie or Home Advisor. That's my personal opinion. Yeah. That they're gathering leads, because I said, well, where are you from? I didn't know there was a chimney company in White House. I've lived here forever and there's no chimney company here. Well, we send somebody out. Oh, so is it local? Yeah, we have a local handyman that we and I'm like, I don't want a local handyman. I'm looking for a chimney professional. Are you certified? Oh, yes. Yes, sir. We're certified. So you're CSA certified I just put them through the ringer. They didn't know anything,
it's just a marketing scam.
It's a marketing scam. So if you remember back in the day, I said, I hate those people because all they do is compete against you guys.
Yeah.
They compete against you. They gather leads to sell back to you.
Yes.
Drives me crazy.
They literally cost us more in SEO to sell us the lead back.
Yep.
And if you don't want to play their game, you'll give your hard work to somebody else.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. I hate them, but that's the fact. So that's the other thing that we're dealing with. And it's all across the country, by the way.
Yeah. For me, I've learned that I can hate something, and that doesn't mean I'm not going to play the game. Like, you can hate and hate and hate. You can hate everything. You can hate the political situation. You can hate the marketing situation. You can hate the AI, and it all add it all up, and it gets you nowhere. It absolutely drains you and it's an inside game. So for me, I'm like, I cannot agree with it, but what is the game I got to play? And I'm literally up for it. Tell me what the game is, and then I'll adjust my sails to my ship and try to sail. And there's times all of a sudden I'm missing the wind. I'm like, what's happening? And okay, the wind moved over there. We've got to figure out how to get it over there. And so I like that game. It's not always comfortable. A lot of times it's super uncomfortable, especially when search dropped down. You were telling us, hey, the terms you're searching for are not necessarily what people are typing in to find you. And, so then we have to adjust it. But I will tell you this, every lead is golden now. And you guys sent me a report yesterday or 2 days ago about phones being answered. And I had 100% across the board, like all my stuff, my phones are being answered. Those, they're picking up, and and that was interesting. It was good for me to see that, because I don't know. But everything is gold right now.
Here's another really interesting thing. And we did the SBO play for Google not too long ago. I got home today and went through a bunch of reports. So for 3 or 4 of those guys, it's actually showing up on Google now.
Hold on, say that again. What do you mean the Google play?
The search box optimization terms.
Oh, right.
Are actually starting to show up on Google for a couple of guys. So that was really interesting. So it was like, wow.
So when they type in the search term, the company's name pops up on the other side.
Name popping up, in Google. So I thought that's interesting.
Right.
Which is great. They're all canceled. So now that seems to be, so we'll figure that out. So there's a lot of things out there. So, if you're in a place and you're not showing up in that 49 mile square, the 7x7 square, then we have a product called Near Me that actually goes in and does some things. I don't even know what it does. It's an ex-Google engineer that worked in that department has come up with this thing. Yeah. And so he massages some stuff, and I've seen some remarkable things coming through that as well for people that aren't, number 1, number 2 in that area. So that's another possibility. So these are all things that are happening. I'm working on LSAs for the chimney companies. That's another thing that I think
be nice.
Figure that out.
They haven't done it for chimneys yet. It's all roofers and plumbers and HVAC. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of a deal. So, there's always things that we're looking at to kind of enhance. And how do you get ahead? How do you jump over, your competition? What are the things you need to be doing? And right now, the other thing, we haven't talked about social media, and there's some really interesting things happening there as well. You're talking about losing views. Social media is awful right now.
Well, let me say, I've heard that actually Facebook is on the rise again. Like, what are you seeing out there?
They're on the rise. You have to do ads. You absolutely.
They were saying Facebook ads were on the rise, right?
Yep. It's ads. Ads are on the rise. Ads are working. Google search ads are working. There are things out there that are absolutely working, but you have to remember this. And I always say, when people call me and go, well, that's not working for me, we can't spend our $1,000 budget, because nobody's looking for what you do right now. So right now, if you're going to do ads, go do Facebook ads. Get in the way, interrupt them, because they're sitting there scrolling like this. You want an interruption ad. And that's
I think that's like Google is a listing service, right? It's just old school. You had to be looking for the thing. Facebook is an interruption style. You don't go to Facebook for search, but you do learn a lot from Facebook because the thing popped up and you didn't know about it, and you click learn more or whatever. And it's an interruption type of advertising versus a search type advertising. Like, Angie's List and all those things, when they search for you, you got to be there clearly. Yeah. But right now they're not searching for you. So now you got to pique their interest with a new fireplace, or get ready for the winter, or a money saving, or something, leaky chimney, something that is their problem, and they have more interest. And that's why Facebook works in that way. You don't go to Facebook and search for chimney companies.
Well, we've done something and created a digital marketing package that marries Google and Facebook together, so that we can take those same budgets and move them from one to the other as needed.
Really?
So I think that's something that is really different. We just came up with that. But that's the thing. We're trying to think about the future. What's going to work for our clients? What's going to work for our customers? I use AI every day. Okay. So yes, we can all use AI to do those things, but there are things you have to think beyond that. How's this going to help my customer? Because it's our job to give y'all every tool, everything we know to do to be able to get those leads, get those people, so you make a living in your communities. And that's really important.
Also, we talk about the future and everything, and what's latest, but man, make sure you're doing the basics. Make sure you're answering the phone, answering emails, getting the estimate out on time, following up with customers, saying thank you. Like, there's some basics that take but you got to get those things right before you get onto the next newest thing that drives I remember early on, when you started really working with people's websites and they started getting a lot of phone calls, you're like, yeah, but you're not answering the damn phone. You're not getting out to the customer for a month and a half. Like, you're not doing the business basics. So why market on top of a crappy business? Like, you want to market a good service. If you out market a bad service, you're just going to run yourself in the ground faster.
Yeah, and there's a lot of marketing companies out there that are not looking at what's changing. They're not looking at the future at all. They've just kind of got their head in the sand and says, this has always worked. It's going to always work. And, if it works until it doesn't, that's fine. But man, marketing is more than just bringing in leads. And this is what I want to touch on. And I know we're getting to the end of the hour.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that a marketing company, what their job really is to just bring in leads. I would say that's the first thing we do. But let me just tell you how frustrating it is to bring you leads when you let them walk out the back door. So marketing is more than just bringing you leads. It's also coaching and saying, hey, you may need to get an Alan Rush to help you close more. I've had people go coach with me that have had terrible closing rates. Get a sales coach. All you got to do is if you up your closing rate 10%, it's amazing what that can do. There's so many things along the customer journey and what the business will do or doesn't do that makes all the difference in the world. And so instead of thinking I need to have more leads, start thinking, how can I capture and maintain my leads? And not only for this year, but bring them back again the next year.
If you can, pick up some of these great habits and business processes in a downtime, it makes the good times even better. Like, you've sharpened the saw, you can go through things faster, you have better systems. That's really what makes your companies grow quite a bit. Couple quick questions. Austin says, what length of time is ideal for following up on an open quote? I know this isn't quite your thing, but what do you feel about, technician left a quote? What's the process? Speed is always the thing, but what do you think is enough time for a customer?
It's not necessarily the length of time between when you leave the estimate. What we see is how many times you go back. So let's just say you leave me an estimate, you call me in 2 days, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Okay. And then I don't ever hear from you again. And then I get busy. I just get busy. I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm going, oh, that guy didn't call me back about that. Well, I guess he's really not interested in doing the work. So I may pick up the phone and call another company. So what we find is, believe it or not, 7 to 13, 14, 15 times. 7 is the minimum.
It is. It's a lot. And secondly, it's not the length of time so much, Austin. It's a setup. So let's just say I'm at Taylor's house. I write up a quote and I said, hey, here's the quote, and it's going to be $2,700. And, he's like, oh, great. I have to talk to my wife about that.
I'm going to do this, Mark. What?
Whoa, 2,700. I got a handyman. They'll do it for 200 anyway. But what you do though is he says, I need some time, and you're like, hey, is a couple days good? So today is say Tuesday. Can I call you on Thursday? And literally you set the follow-up. So don't just leave it out there, because what happens is they ghost you. You didn't set any expectation of a follow-up. Your phone call calls, he's not ready to respond. He ghosts you, and he ghosts you from then on out. And it happens to us too. But if you'll set up a follow-up expectation, set the next thing. Hey, I'm going to call you on Thursday at 5. Is that a good time? And he'll probably say, yeah. So will you pick up the phone, or are you going to ghost me? Like, I would play with him. Like, you won't ghost me, will you, if I call you? And again, I remember Charlie Quayle passed, but Charlie Quayle used to do this on estimates, and I always loved it. He said, he's like, hey, I'm going to provide this estimate for you. All I need you to do is provide me an answer, a yes or no. And a no is fine too, because then it gives me time and I won't bother you anymore. And it's not a good fit, and I'm good with that. And a yes, of course, is great. That's what we're in business for. But will you give me a yes or no when I call back, or questions? Like, he would throw it out there and say, he would throw the expectation to the customer, and they felt guilty. Who's going to say, no, I'm never going to contact you again, I'm going to ghost you? Nobody. And you'll say, hey, man, you're not going to ghost me, are you? I'm going to call you back. And a yes or a no is fine, either one. So I can take you out of our system, and I can focus on, whoever's a better fit for me. If it's like, I love the way he set that up. It was really good.
That's awesome.
Matt says, do not miss that follow-up call. Exact time and date would be best. Yes. Completely agree, Matt. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Set some specifics. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be, perfect and they're going to ghost you, but that's exactly what you should do, is set that expectation. Nicholas says, his house call pro, and I have my follow-up set up and follow-up messages at 4872, like 5 days. And then if I don't get a response, sometimes I call 48 hours as well. I've had only 2 customers I've been annoyed with message. Yeah. Well, we follow up. I mean, Taylor, you've set us up for at least 7 follow-ups in a phone call.
Yeah. And then I think you also do after 6 months and then a year afterwards.
Yeah. We got some long games planned. And you'd be surprised. Like, I got one a couple days ago. And it was our final one that said, hey, last time we're going to bother you. Here's the financing. And I looked at the time, and it was like 2 months before she saved that last email and responded to say, I'm interested in the financing. Like, you don't know, because you did a proposal and your time's right, it doesn't mean their time is right. But man, they'll forget who they called, who they talked about. It's not chimney day anymore. You stay on it, and you can, it's just what you have to do. There's so many messages coming at people all the time, every day, that they're not really worried about unless there's some major overarching problem. Nicholas says this, and I'm going to have to wrap it up. I have to set up the long-term ones. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, that's what we're here for, man. We're here for value added. Well, tell me this. Let me just thank you for this, Taylor. I know we're getting ready to do our Sweep Away Cancer Rally, and I know you're not coming, and I want to shame you for that. But I do want to thank you for the website, all the support you've given us over the years. And I wish you were going on this ride, and you've been on several. But thank you for everything you've done for the Sweep Away Cancer Foundation.
You keep moving the date, dude. I make my calendar and thinking, oh, I've got the end of May and the first week of June. It's ready. And then I schedule a trade show, and you call, and you're right in the middle of my trade show.
Well, last year I was right in the middle of the Warrior Horse thing, so we moved the date. So we're going to try to keep it this date, second weekend-ish of June from now on. We'll try to keep that out. So, but thank you for everything you've done. You've been a big supporter. You've helped us raise money. You've helped us raise awareness, and I just want to thank you for that.
I appreciate it, and thank you very much for having me as a guest and letting me just kind of pontificate on AI.
Dude, you're easy to talk to. Last question: how are your dogs? How's your wife?
Well, we lost Bogey, at the end of last year, but we have an 8-month-old puppy named Obi. And he's a mess. Yes, he's a mess. And he's normally right outside my glass door waiting on me to get done.
Well, you're in space right now, so I'm glad he's not outside.
Yeah, so he's not here. But yeah, we're doing really, really well. In fact, we were talking earlier today, we need to have you and Terry up here.
Yeah, I need to come see you guys.
Yeah. You need to come see us up here in Cottontown, where we're in the rural area.
Yes. Future now in the country.
That's it. That's it. It
All
must
right,
be.
man. Thank you,
Thank
buddy. Have a good night.
you too.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that talk. Taylor's always a wealth of knowledge. He's always up on whatever's happening. He's got a heart of a teacher. He really will help anybody. If you have questions about marketing, of course he has a service to sell, but he has the heart of a teacher, and he wants to help you have a better business, whether that's doing business with him or not. So don't be afraid to call him, reach out to him, ask him questions, and he can either provide the service or tell you what to do. And I want to thank him again for being our guest. That's my time tonight. I will rebroadcast this a few ways. I may try to find new ways to put this out there because they've limited me. So I don't like to be limited, and we'll find new ways to get this message to our audience. So guys, have a good night. Talk to you soon.